Waiving the Jones Act will help a little bit. So what that does is it enables foreign vessels to also join U.S. flagged vessels in carrying what's mostly cheaper refined products, so gasoline and diesel from the U.S. Gulf Coast to either New England or the West Coast. Instead of just being on U.S. flag tankers, it now can be any tanker. So that would help a little bit because the gasoline and diesel prices are much cheaper in the U.S. Gulf Coast than they are here in New England, where I am, or on the West Coast. So it'll help a bit, but there's other things that may be necessary.
Okay, see, I was going to say that helps a little bit, but doesn't do anything when it comes to the Strait of Hormuz, and that really seems to be the choke point here, Rocky, right now. And I'm wondering what your view is if, indeed, this is among the latest news. The UK says it's evident that Iran is laying mines in the Strait of Hormuz. What does that do to the prospect of, even if this conflict ends soon, what does it mean for this critical waterway?
Yeah, well, so the short answer is nothing good, but the longer answer is that none of this is really a surprise. Though it is a bit surprising to me that the U.S. Navy is not a little bit more out in front on this. So it's been known for a long time that Iran has approximately 5,000 mines. The Iranian Navy, the larger ships, they're all gone. They were gone last week, but there's a lot of small boats. You can deploy mines with even the fishing dhow vessels that are the local fishing vessels. So, mines are this is not a kind of cutting edge technology, but it works. And especially in a strait as constrained as the Strait of Hormuz, it can work. And it worked for them in the 80s. And so one thing I'll just note, because I think it's worthy of conversation, in January, we actually retired our last 4 Avenger class minesweepers and sent them back to the United States. I think that was a mistake. We do have minesweepers there, the literal combat ships with the minesweeping capability. So we have 3 of those there, or in the region, I should say. But it would be nice to have those. Those vessels were actually very effective. They were getting older, but they probably should have been continued, in my opinion.
What do the mines look like? And are they completely underwater, or do they float like buoys? Just help us understand this world.
Yeah, the honest answer is it depends on the mine.
Okay.
So there's a bunch of different kinds of mines. Many of them will float subsurface, and many of them are magnetic. So they will be attracted to a ship's hull. So if the ship passes nearby, the magnetation comes in, and then once it connects with the metal, then it explodes. So those are the most common. You do have smart mines as well. I don't know if the Iranians have any of those, but those are certainly existing technology. It wouldn't be surprising that it's essentially a mine that maybe has a little bit of smart technology that it's almost then in kind of ways like an undersea drone.
Wow.
But they have a lot of mines. But again, we've been dealing with mines for, at least 120 years in naval warfare. So this is a known challenge. Actually, those 4 Avenger class minesweepers that were sent back to the United States from Bahrain are actually wood hauled.
Wow.
And that's intentional because those magnetic mines don't go to the wood, right? So it's easier to minesweep. So I hope that helps.
That does. Thank you.
Hey, is this another reminder or just indication that maybe the U.S. intelligence on everything that's going on in Iran? We had a great Bloomberg Big Take story that got into this about that, maybe how the U.S. underestimated what Iran could do and its capabilities and how long it could do it. And is this another indication? I'd love to get your read on that.
Yeah, we're really in the fog of war. So I would say we'll be able to answer that question in a couple weeks, probably. So I think there's 2 alternative theories here. One is what you mentioned, which is there was an underestimation of the capability, particularly around the Strait of Hormuz, to use either very small craft, so not their navy's gone, but use small craft or use land-based systems. And it's known that they probably have some anti-ship missiles that are already pre-positioned, even probably in caves along the coast, that northern coastline of the Strait of Hormuz. So it very well could be the case that our intelligence community underestimated that challenge. The alternative theory is that the U.S. military, both the Air Force and the Navy, have been focused on much higher level targets, hitting out those missile launchers, and they've hit thousands. I think the count is up to 7,000 targets now. And they're starting with the biggest ones that would be the mobile launchers, or taking out some of the factories that would make some of those either drones or anti-ship missiles. So it might just be they didn't get down to the list of the smaller targets on the Strait of Hormuz. So that's the alternative theory. Which one ends up being the ground truth? It's honestly too early to tell, at least for me. I live in the unclassified zone, so I don't know. I don't know what I don't know, but I have a sense that it's one of those two kind of theories of the case.
You know, Rocky, we're kind of asking everybody how long they think that this will go on, and nobody knows, and especially those of us who are not, in the classified world. But we've had estimates from guests today that range from several weeks up to 4 months. What's your view just on what's known publicly?
Okay, so I've been watching this very closely, as you both know. So I think we're probably talking weeks. Unlikely months. I would be surprised if sort of combat operations aren't over by the end of April. I think what's interesting, it'll be very interesting to watch this in the lead up to Trump's visit with President Xi of China on March 31st. That's 19 days away. So what happens between now and then, I think, is going to be worth watching. But I do think that this will wrap up no later than the end of April. At least from a military perspective, at that point, I think this should be largely stabilized. I would be very surprised if at that point a combination of the United States Navy, the NATO navies, and even the Asian navies, whether it's Japan or others, have secured the Strait of Hormuz.